On this. Hey everybody, it's Madam Pamita, and this is the live magic Q&A tea party with me, Madam Pamita, and my special guest. My special guest this week is Michelle Williams, the Freedom Fairy. I can't wait to introduce you to her. This is the live magic Q&A tea party that meets every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, and 8 p.m. Eastern. We record this as a free Zoom meeting every week. So if you're seeing this on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or some other weird social media that I don't even know about yet and want to be in our super secret clubhouse, you can do it. We don't ask admission. We don't charge admission. We don't do any of that stuff. It's free. And we don't even sell you anything. So you can come in, join us. Go to spellsquad.com, SPELLSQUAD, spellsquad.com. Sign up. You'll be given the link so that you can join us and you can be here with us live. Oh my God, so exciting. You can ask us questions about magic, law of attraction, spiritualism, tarot, spirit guides. You can even ask questions about sperries. My new word that I invented. We'll find out about that later. You can ask questions about divination, spells, or any other magical thing that me or my guests know about, and then we'll answer them. In case you just stumbled upon this and you are wondering who I am, I'm Madam Pamita. Hey, what do you know? Whoops. How did that happen? How did I get out of the, there's our special guest, but I'm going to be back to me for just a second. So who am I? Madam Pamita. You can find me at parlorofwonders.com. I do tarot readings. I teach magic. I do magical supplies. I make things. I do all of that. That's who I am. And this week we have a special, amazing guest that you got a sneak peek at. Our friend Michelle Williams. She's the Freedom Fairy. She's going to be giving a very special offer for you guys. And she's going to be doing a free mini face reading or oriental diagnosis later on for you. Those people that are in our session today are going to have access to that. So, oh my gosh, we'll talk about that in a second. So before we get started answering all your questions, Michelle, hello, welcome. Let me get you up here. There, properly. Now, there you are. Hi.
Hello.
You look so gorgeous.
Hello.
With your
Thank
flower
you.
crown. Oh my gosh.
Thank
so
you.
beautiful. So tell us a little bit about what it is that you do, who you are, and what it is that you do. Who's the Freedom Fairy?
Yes. Who is the Freedom Fairy? Well, it's me. I help women specifically to get in touch with their intuition, be able to recognize it, and strengthen it to be used as an effective tool. And I also teach about the patterns of nature and how everyday habits, when they're in line with nature, help you to become more healthy, happy, at peace, have more freedom. And in that way, that's why I call myself the Freedom Fairy, because I can help you have more freedom in your life to do whatever you want to do.
Oh my gosh. It's kind of like you do the thing of opening up people to their full potential, I would say.
Yes, exactly.
Now, let me ask you a quick question. You work with women. Do you work, let's ask you the question. Why do you work with women only?
Right now, I really want to focus on women just because, well, part of the reason is my guides have told me to really, really work with women right now. But in my own life, in my own experience, I know that women struggle so much with so many things. And being a woman, I really want to help those who have similar stories as me, similar struggles, because I have gotten myself out of them. I feel like I'm a very good leader or guide for women. So and just another thing about my background is I was a ballet teacher for children for 6 years, and children really, I don't know if you feel this way too, Pamita, because you're a Cancer, but children really are attracted to me, and I work really well with children, and something that kind of made me change my career was seeing that I could see issues that the children were having were not issues I could help by just teaching them dance. I could see that there was issues within the family, and it really made me feel like I was suppressing my gifts by just working with children. So if I can work with women who at some point may become mothers and a leader of their family, I could help children still in that way, so that's why I really prefer to work with women right now.
I think that anybody could be, that it has a kind of childlike openness. You can encourage that openness like children have. And I think people that have that kind of openness are going to really be attracted to you, that kind of willingness or desire to have that, like the freedom fairy freedom, or the openness that people have can, those kind of people who desire that or want that are going to be really attracted to working with you. So what kind of modalities do you use for doing your work? Like what kind of things do you do to, if I can ask?
Yes, yes. So one of my main priorities when I work with people is actually helping them to change their daily habits, and
Oops.
primarily
Okay.
changing their eating, because oh because what actually happened with me is, so the past year or so I've been getting more into crystals and magic, and I've gotten a lot of attention, and I've magnetized a lot of new friends, new internet followers. But what they don't realize is that I wouldn't have got into this place of being interested in more magical things if I was still so closed off in my body. So what happened with me was that I grew up with depression, anxiety, eating disorders, and I've been through all kinds of treatment centers and seeing therapists and taking medication, and it helped me only so far, and I was still depressed after years of doing this kind of treatment, and not only was I still depressed, I started to have physical disease as well. Like I had relentless acne. I was on what's it called? Uh, Antibiotics for years, which you're not supposed to do. Uh, um, and I was even on a really strong medication called Accutane, and still the acne kept coming. And I was also, teaching dance. I was helping myself advance my career in dance, and no matter how many times I practiced the same moves over and over again, I was never improving. And it was kind of I really think a soul connection, a karmic connection, that I met my boyfriend, who actually introduced me to a lifestyle based off of Chinese medicine. And I was very skeptical because I was like, this sounds like another diet, which I have tried them all, and they don't work. I mean, I had eating disorders. Like clearly, the diets they're not really the answer. But this is actually more. It's not talking about food in the same way that we're so used to hearing about food, like counting calories or looking at nutrition facts. It's about understanding the vibration of food and how it correlates with your environment, how it correlates with the seasons. And that made so much sense to me. So I decided to try it out. And not only were my physical issues diminished or gone, but I noticed the emotional effect it had on me, and I was so blown away. And then that's when I started to recognize my psychic gifts. And at first I was like, what is this? Why am I, every day I would wake up and I would feel, the only way that I could describe was like million tiny orgasms on my skin. And I was like, what is this good feeling I'm feeling? And like, all throughout my childhood, I looking back, I could say I was always psychic. I just didn't know what it was or whatever. I just thought that was my mental illness. It woke up again. And I started to prioritize listening to my intuition, and all these other events happened, and so it awoke my magical side of me. So that is the main priority that I focus on with my clients. And then also too, because I definitely believe in the power of magic and the law of attraction, I also include that as well.
So it's kind of it sounds like it's a real holistic kind of work that you do with a client, which is to work on their health, their physical body,
Mm-hmm.
their intuition, their spirituality, and then from that place launch into fabulous magic, fabulous transformation and change, right?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
I love that.
So that people are free to do what they want with their lives.
That's
because yes, because like I said before, I did everything my doctor told me. I went to all the therapy. I took all the medications, I did all the exercises for ballet that was supposed to help me, but it only got me so far. So I think, knowing about nature and knowing about magic is like a secret weapon. You can do anything.
It's amazing. I love that. Well, let's jump into our questions, and then we're going to start answering those questions and looking at people. So you guys have your questions in. If you would like, we're going to also have, Michelle is going to do a face reading. So if you would like to have a face reading, you want to type in the word or put the emoji, if you have your emojis handy, if you're on your phone, of a fairy. Type the word fairy or put the emoji of a fairy. Men or women can have the face reading. That's okay, Michelle?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
either one. Anybody,
okay.
anybody, all genders welcome, all permutations, all genders welcome. He, she, or they, anybody. Go ahead, put the word fairy if you'd like to have it. As we get to the end of our session today, we'll do that. We'll pick the person and we'll have that reading. But for right now, let's answer some questions. Are you ready to answer some questions, Michelle? Are you ready? Okay, perfect.
Yes.
That's what I want to hear. If you said no, I go, okay, what are we going to do? All right, we have Gia. Gia's asking the question, I'd love any business entrepreneur insight you may have today. So kind of not even a real magical question, but as a business person, like what is one tip that you would give a person who is maybe doing their own business, starting their own business in terms of magical, physical, or whatever? Is there something that you could recommend as like, that could be a whole week-long class, believe me, or longer. But let's think about one tip. Do you have one tip, Michelle, that you could give a person that is starting a business?
Yes. Something that, has been super, super clear and meaningful and important to me lately is to not so much focus on your outcome. I know it sounds weird. Not so much focus on your outcome or how much money you want to make, but really focus on enjoying what you do and focusing on why you're doing what you're doing. Because I think that when you put that kind of energy, enthusiasm, love, that energy that comes from your heart, from your most sacred intention, I feel like no matter what, it may not happen tomorrow or soon, but you will get the results that you would like, you know, maybe even better. So I just think it's very important not to get caught up in, you know, in the outcome. Just focus on pouring your best quality effort into your work.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, that's good advice for anybody at any stage in any business or even in a career. But with a business, you have a lot more choices, you know, like when you have your own business, you definitely can choose like, well, this is what brings me joy. So I'm going to continue to do that thing that brings me joy. And that really goes along with that idea of like, like, what is the thing? It's like, I can't think of the saying now. It's like, find your passion. And if it was something that you would do for free, that's, you found the thing. I'm really not quoting everything well. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Do your, what is it? Do your passion, and then the rest will follow. Like the money and all of those other things will follow when you found that passion that you're doing. But I also think that too, one of the things that I have found so helpful, because especially if you're doing a business, is community. Having people around you that can support you, give you answers, give recommendations. So it's like within, I'm a huge advocate of building community in whatever we're doing, not even like businesses, but in terms of like spiritual practices or passions or hobbies or anything. The community is has a vast store of knowledge that they can share with you. So take that passion, focus on your passion. Like Michelle says, you know, if you're passionate about tarot reading, then do tarot reading. You can do it every chance that you can. The money will follow. Do what you love and the money will follow. That's what I'm
Yes. Yes.
Oh my gosh. I need another cup of coffee today. Do what you love and the money will follow. And also I would say look to finding or building or getting involved in a community of like-minded people. So if you're, that's one of the things that I love about this platform that we're doing here, is that it builds community. Like I get the brain trust in here. We get all these people that have all this vast knowledge that they can share with you guys out there. So it's not just me sharing my one person knowledge. We get everybody's knowledge in there with all kinds of different solutions and strategies and angles for looking at things. So that is a fabulous answer to that question, that you have like follow what you love and do the part you love. And I would also add, the part that you don't love about it, you can find somebody, either find a partner who will take on that part that you don't love, or farm it out in some way, you know, find something to someone else to do it maybe, or hire someone else to do it if you get to that point that you can hire someone. That's fabulous. Okay. So, oh, here's a great question. Buchanan, lovely Buchanan, my wonderful New York friend Buchanan asked the question, and I'm going to ask that question to you, Michelle. Do you have any suggestions or rituals for opening up new channels of intuition or connecting with your spirit guides? Do you have a ritual for opening up your intuition? What is it that you do to open up your intuition?
Well, like I said before in my story of how I got into my psychic abilities, really it's eating better. You know, it's trying not to consume foods that will block you from receiving natural wisdom. And for me, and what I recommend to my clients is to, you know, it's a whole thing, but I'm just going to try to explain it as easily as I can. You know, limit your meat, dairy, and sugar, and increase your whole grains and your vegetables. That's the most simple starting point that I can give to you.
Yeah, that's a lovely way. I mean, I think that starting with what we put in our body is like the beginning of everything, isn't it? It's how we, you know, if you are eating a bunch of junk food and you're eating a bunch of, you know, highly processed foods, I think that the highly processed foods definitely can make us have a brain fog. I can't blame, well, maybe I can blame it on some, I did eat some food yesterday. It wasn't great. Maybe that's where my brain fog is. Today I've been great, but yesterday it wasn't so great. But it can remove that like fog so that your channel is clear. I found, interestingly, in the connection with food and intuition, I have found, not that I say you should do this all the time, or, I think that you want to kind of do it ritualistically, and do it on special occasions, and maybe doing it once or twice a year at the most. But going on a fast, like a real limited fast where you're just maybe having, let's say under 1,000 calories a day, not as a lifestyle, not as like, definitely not, that's not something you want to do as a lifestyle, but as an intentional spiritual fast will start to open up your channel. Like I can remember fasting and just seeing the world as like this very shimmering, magical place where I could see what I would call what I would call the reality of the world, not the mundane reality, but the real reality of seeing dimensional things. And I think that fasting can open up, and maybe what you're suggesting, which is like the more clean eating, maybe that's what the fast does for us, is like the clean eating. I don't know. Do you have any experience with fasting or doing anything like that, having that open up anything for you?
Yes. And actually, this is a great thing to bring up. In the lifestyle that I practice, it's actually, there's a name for it. It's actually called macrobiotics, and it just means, macros means big and bios means life, so it just means big life or best life. And in macrobiotics, we don't, it's not so rigid. There's a lot of things to think about, but ultimately you have the choice to choose whatever fits for you. And so we don't really say like, oh, we're gonna fast or go on a fast, because if you are eating in line with nature, that's already like a fast. Like you don't have all the extra toxins from processed food or from meat. And definitely, like you said, that when I started to eat this way, I could my clairsentience was activated more, as well as my clairvoyance, clairaudience, and exactly what you said, Pamita. I saw things more clearly, and it didn't mean like how most people think of reality as like hard and everything's hard. That's the reality. It's like, no, the reality is more magical. The reality is like you see more things in a more balanced way. And that was further down the line in my journey, I was still struggling with negative self-talk. And throughout my years of going to therapy, and I was never able to meditate. My mind was just always racing. If my therapist gave me the exercise to, Michelle, write down your good qualities, write down what you love about yourself, I would just cry because I was like, I can't. There's nothing. And even if my behavior stopped, I stopped hurting myself, I still couldn't say anything nice about myself. So when I changed my eating, and I still had this negative thought pattern, but I got sick of it, and I said, you know what, I'm really going to focus on changing this negative tape in my mind. So I really put my mind to it, to meditate, to reprogram my mind, and it was so easy. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? One day I was just, I was just doing my daily life, and I was like, I haven't said anything mean to myself all day. And I honestly believe that if I was still eating what I was always eating before, I wouldn't have been able to get to that point. So I think definitely once you have fasted in a way, or put better things in your body, whatever you try to do in your mind, much easier to accomplish.
Yeah, I think you can probably, if we look at like that concept of like clean eating leading to a more enlightened state, it makes it, it's like it fast tracks it. That's what you saw, like it fast tracked that connection with what I would maybe call the third eye, or the idea that you have that intuitive connection. Your channel to divine energy is much more open. That's a fabulous place to start. Is just to you can do it through pure labor, I think, like really struggle and get there. But if you shift what it is that you are putting into your body, that you can actually see faster results. You can probably find another way. Like, I'm not going to say that a person that eats junk food can never have enlightenment. It's just they're working way too hard to get there.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
That's an amazing insight. Boy, you've got me really inspired, because I thought, okay. Yeah. I mean, I think about that time, like for me, it's actually almost like a visual thing. Like I see the life force in the world. I'll go for a walk and I'll see like the trees and the plants and the animals as really being like vibrant. And I can almost describe it as being like a equivalent of like a psychedelic experience, where you're seeing like, oh, I see the reality beyond the superficial reality that we see. And I can open that up. And I think that has that quality. If if I'm not doing that clean eating, if I'm not doing that clean, sort of cleansing my body, which is the getting in my way, I can do it, but it's harder. I have to focus more. And if I'm like, when I was talking about the fasting, I could just see it without even trying. So I think that's the difference that, that people will find. All right. We have a question from Angela for you. If you guys have questions, by the way, go ahead and go to the chat. There's a chat button right below me. You should find it right below me. And that chat button, you can click on that and it will take you over, or take you somewhere where you can type in your questions. And if you want, we also are going to have a face reading. And I want to ask you a question about what face reading is in a second. But if you'd like to have a face reading, which means you will have your video, we'll put your video up so everyone can see, and then Michelle can talk about what's going on with your face. Put the word fairy or the fairy emoji in the chat, and we'll get you into the raffle for the reading. So Angela has a question for you, Michelle. What did you start to see a Chinese medicine doctor, and how did you start with that?
Wow. I actually, like I said, I met my boyfriend. It was, again, I feel like a divine meeting, a soul connection. I was supposed to meet him. I was in a cycle of just going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. And I got so sick of the cycle. One day I was just like, oh, I got to get out of here. And I ended up going to a swing dance. And that's where I met my boyfriend. And when I met him, I wasn't looking for a boyfriend, which is my whole life I was boy crazy, let's say, and met up with a lot of not good males. but when I met my boyfriend, he just I just really liked his energy. Even though I thought he was cute and all this stuff, I thought, let's just be friends. He's a cool guy, if anything, and he started to tell me some things about eating, like, oh yeah, well, maybe like you want to check out vegetarian or vegan. And I was like shutting him down all the time. Don't tell me about that. Like, I was very like aggressive, like, I'm like, that's how people get eating disorders. I was like very, and so one day he bought me a book from Amazon. It's called The Hip Chick's Guide to Macrobiotics. And I read it, and it really, like I said, it resonated with me because it wasn't talking about food in the same way that we always hear. And so maybe what I didn't make clear was that this lifestyle is based off of the 5 transformations, the 5 element theory. If you know about the ancient text called I Ching, it's based off of that. So it just explains food in that way. And throughout my years of studying, I have seen some different teachers on this lifestyle. So I know that Chinese medicine is, there's Chinese medicine doctors, there's acupuncturists, and I have never actually seen a Chinese medicine doctor. I mostly focus on the eating aspect of Chinese medicine. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking for someone to kind of prescribe you herbs or something like that, I'm not the one you want to talk to. If you want to eat better and at the same time learn more about Chinese philosophy about health, then that's what I am more educated on. So yeah, I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, I think that in our American culture, we think about acupuncture, and we have maybe some knowledge about acupuncture, and it's, the needles and the herbs and all of that. But I think what you're kind of expressing is that there's so much more than just that
Yes.
one little sliver to the Chinese approach to health.
Yes.
There's that one big important part, but then there's also philosophies and
yes.
Diet and things like that would I would say probably mesh with the with acupuncture and that, but that acupuncture is
yes.
just one little piece of that pie, right?
Right. And one of my favorite teachers, he actually has passed away, and he actually is now one of my spirit guides, which I'm so thankful that he's with me. His name is Michio Kushi. You can look him up. He has lectures on YouTube. He has a lot of books he's written. And what is so interesting, and what people always comment on when they read his books or when they watch his lectures, is like he hardly talks about food. I mean, of course he talks about food. Otherwise, how would I know like to eat more grains and eat more vegetables? Of course he talks about food, but he mostly focuses on philosophy. He talks about you would be able to ask him anything, any question, and he'll be able to explain it in the way of the 5 elements, in the way of yin and yang. And then at the end of the lecture, he'll say a little bit about the food to support that, to support that question. So it's really awesome.
I want to know a little bit more about what face reading is, because you're going to be doing a face reading. And if you want to get in on that face reading, be sure to put the word fairy or the fairy emoji and then in the chat, and then we'll pick somebody to get a face reading. But tell us a little bit about face reading, what it is, how did you get started with all of that?
Yes. So again, that is something that Chinese medicine doctors do use as a form of diagnosis. So it's maybe like a 180 to Western diagnosis, because when we go to a regular Western doctor, we get our blood drawn, or at certain times they need a sample of our skin, or they need to do a colonoscopy, or they need to swab our throat, or they need to swab our privates, So it's more invasive. It's more like just more invasive to the body to get to the root, or get more clear about what's going on with you. But in Chinese medicine, you can tell a person's condition, or maybe where their health is declining, by looking at their face, or by, this is very cool, or by even what their posture is, how they walk. Like I said, my favorite teacher, Michio Kushi, he to practice Oriental diagnosis, he would go to New York City and just sit and people watch and just look at them and figure out, okay, why are they walking that way? Like using the principles of yin and yang, like using that to determine what that person could be going through, what ailments might they be experiencing. And I should also say that I believe that when you're first starting to feel like maybe something's going on with me, I feel like you should probably see a more natural doctor first, or a Chinese medicine doctor first, because they can give you like a precursor, a bigger timeline of warning for you. Just because when you go to a Western doctor, a lot of the times you go and you see them and you do all the tests. They say, oh, you're good. Oh, you're good. Oh, you're good. Oh, you're good. Oh, wait, you have 2 months to live. Oh, wait, you need emergency surgery, and it's like they don't catch things until they've gone into a more extreme point. And that is when I say, like, of course, if you're going through something extreme and you need extreme measures to take care of that. But if it's just something that's not so pressing, it's better to see a more natural professional, so that you can kind of get away from it early on. They can detect things more early on than and by doing less extreme measures to take care of it, I think is a better way to go. But
yeah, I think one of the things that's so fabulous about Chinese medicine, I do go to an acupuncturist. My friend and amazing acupuncturist, Melissa Monroe, who is at Eastside Family Acupuncture in LA. She is amazing because she's the one that has diagnosed a lot of things for me, that then I went and I got a Western medicine doctor to, go do what sort of be complementary medicine to what I was doing in acupuncture. And I have a client that is going through some very intense health stuff. And my guides were like, telling this client, you need to go to acupuncture too. And this client found a ton of relief in getting getting the needles done and getting that done. So I think those things can definitely go together. But my observation is that Western medicine, like you said, it's like ignores things until it becomes something that they can then deal with, but they can't deal with those very subtle, small things. And what a lot of times, there's solutions that are just addressing the symptoms, but not addressing the underlying cause. Like, I have autoimmune things that I have in my life. That's what I deal with, is autoimmune stuff. And when I was like trying to figure out how to stop this, they would give me things to solve the symptom. And I went to a rheumatologist, which is someone who deals with autoimmune rheumatoid arthritis. And they're like, here, take this, put this cream on your, and I'm like, that's not solving the problem. That's a cream that stops the pain is not addressing the problem. And then for me, through diet and changing my diet, I had huge relief in what I was eating, directly addressing those symptoms and the lack thereof. Or when I go off, I have a flare up. If I go veer too far off, I have a flare up. So it's like that connection. I had to find it out on my own. I had to go and do the research. When I went to a rheumatologist and I said to her, I don't eat wheat because wheat gives me a flare. She's like, oh, I've never heard of that. I'm like, you're a doctor, you've never heard of that? So, and she said, here's some cream to put on your achy joints. And I'm like, that's not solving that's just making, it's like palliative care. It's making your miserable life slightly less miserable till you die. That's not what I want. I want to figure out what the problem is and find the solution.
Right.
So let's take a look and see. Let's go ahead and do, if you guys, if you want to get in on the face reading, which means your face is going to be up in the video. So just say if it's a bad hair day, maybe you don't want to do it. You want to do it. We've got 5 people that have said so far that they want
Ooh.
So do you want to well, first, before we get to that, so let's get last minute. Go into chat, go find the chat button below me and type the word fairy or put the fairy emoji if you want to be in that. But I want to ask a question. You've got an amazing program that you've got coming up that you're going to be working with people over a bigger, women over a bigger, longer period of time to do a really, truly big transformation in terms of health, spirituality. What is this thing that you're working on? I just want to know a little bit about that.
Yes. So on November 4th, I'm actually launching or beginning my first group coaching program, and it's called the Freedom Chrysalis. So in this 3-month program, we're going to be going over basically all the steps of transformation, from starting to recognize your intuition, to learning about the patterns of nature, to starting to change the way you eat, change the way you think about food, and go into more magical things like crystals, essential oils, changing techniques to change your thought pattern, meditations, of course, exercise, uh, you know, um, we're going to be doing not mood boards,
vision boards.
Vision boards. That's what I'm talking about. Vision boards, and talking about like color magic and things like that. So it starts from how I developed the program is to start from what is the most important thing, what are the most important things, and then as we go through the different modules, then we get to some more fun and magical and more fluffy kind of things, so that by the end you're more well-rounded in all the key aspects that have really helped me to transform, and I really believe that will help you to transform.
And it's like you go in a caterpillar and you come out a butterfly, right?
Yes, exactly.
You also do, you have a special thing for the people that are watching this on wherever it shows up and out in the world, but also the people that are here live, that you are offering them a free consultation with you, a 60-minute consultation with you, which is an amazingly generous gift. I can't even believe how generous that is. And where they can find that is if they go to freedomfairy.youcanbook.me. So for the people that are here in the chat, I'm going to put the link in so you can just really just copy it and paste it into your wherever you are, your computer, your phone. But for everybody else, if they go to freedomfairy.youcanbook.me, there's an option there for them to book a 60-minute session and they get it for free, which is amazing. What do you do in that session? What is that all about?
Yes. So really what it's about, it's an opportunity for me to learn more about where my potential client is coming from, what their story is, what their struggles are, where they want to be, their ultimate goals and dreams for themselves, and also what have they already tried and maybe has worked or hasn't worked. And from there I can see, is this a person that I really feel like I can help, and then I can, if yes, then I can go ahead and share with them some things that I can do for them. And I also, even if the person on the call with me doesn't end up signing with me as a client, I will always give a little advice that they can take with them and try out that day, to start seeing, you know, maybe some improvement.
That's amazing. That's such a beautiful gift. You are such a loving and generous person to get that beautiful, beautiful gift. So I encourage everyone. Now, is it only women that you want to work with? You're working with women, so only women can take advantage of this, right?
Right. For right now,
Sorry, guys.
you know, if there is a male, if there is a male that's like for some reason really feels called to work with me, I mean, of course I'm not gonna push them away, but you know, it might be a different situation. I probably will have to work with them one to one, because another thing is that a lot of times women feel more comfortable if the group is all women. You know, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but having a male in a group sometimes changes things a lot. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
just
No, I get that. You know,
know.
I am all about, you know, I have seen the value of like people who have shared experiences having space in a shared experience. Like not to me personally, I couldn't care less, you know, male, female, transgender, it's all fine with me. I can work with everyone as long as they're coming with that loving spirit. But I see like I do see the value in, like, let's say people of color having space with people of color only in the space, that has a value in it, because when you have a shared experience, possibly a shared experience, and if it makes sense for that group to be defined in some way, I respect that. I would never go like, well, you got to let me in. That's like, no. And I see the same thing of like having space where there's a feminine experience in that space. And for me personally, I would say, I don't care if that, for me, if that person is, if they identify as female, then that's good enough for me, you know? So I'm completely in that way. But I think that when you bring a lot of like, you can have a certain kind of a difference. You can feel a difference in the vibe when you're working with groups that are maybe a little less cohesive in some way. And so there may be that kind of idea that you want to have a feminine only space. And for me, I can see where that is coming from. I would draw it for myself at the place that the person identifies as female. That's what I would say for me. Let's talk about, okay, let's get to our face reading. So I'm going to ask you to pick a number between 1 and 5, including 1 and 5. So do you have a special favorite number, and then we'll bring that person in?
I do. My favorite number is 3.
Okay, that's Ray. Let me bring Ray in. Let me see where Ray is. Ray, I'm going to bring you up. Ray, I'm going to unmute you. Hi, Ray. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you want to turn on your video, and then I think if you go below, let's see, you muted yourself. Let's see if I can turn on your video.
Do you hear
Ask
me?
to start video. Now I can hear you. I'm going to send you a thing that says start video. Can you see that?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
All right, let me get Ray in here. Hi, Ray. Oh, nope, that's not Ray. Hi. Let me get you in here.
Okay.
There we are. Okay, there's Ray. Hi.
Hello.
So Michelle's going to do a face reading for you. So Michelle, take it away.
Okay, let me just see. I do see her, but I want to see her, like, her big picture.
Oops. I'm unmuting you, Michelle. Hold on. Oh, you're muted, and can you unmute yourself? I can't unmute you.
Okay. Okay. Is it possible? I'm not sure, Pamita, if you can tell me if I can.
Oops. You muted yourself again. There
No.
we go.
Okay. Before I touch anything, I would just, is there a way for me to see her whole face on my screen? Because I see her little square.
Okay, I am going to, if you tap on, do you see her little square? What happens when you tap on the little square? See, I don't know how a phone works. I'm working on a computer.
Oh, Let me see. It's not making it bigger.
Okay. Maybe Ray can get closer to the camera. Would that help?
Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it's better. Okay, so just from what I can see here, you do have a pretty strong constitution, which means what you got from your mother and father when you were being created, or what they gave to you, is pretty strong, meaning that you can get through a lot of difficult things. Being born more strong, and it's not just strong like physically strong, but it's just strong in your health in many ways. Just because your nose is more wide, and that's true of most like indigenous kind of people, Africans, Native Americans, the Asian people. They usually have more wide nose, and that means that their ancestors lived more closely with earth and nature. So it's a good thing. But I can also see a little bit maybe that you like to eat dairy.
Yeah.
Is that true? Yes, I can see that. And then would you be able to like lift your hair and turn your ear a little bit? Oh, okay. Yeah, and you also have a really good ear. You also have a really good ear. And the ear actually is like reminiscent of when you were a fetus in the womb. If you look at people's ears, it kind of looks like a fetus. So so you have a pretty good ear. And just for those watching, when you have a bigger ear and when you have a larger earlobe, it's actually a good thing. So don't be ashamed about your big ears and your big earlobes. Don't be getting any kind of surgery. That's a gift, man. And what your parents give you, if they can give you a strong constitution like that, I mean, once you're born, you can't get that. You know what I mean? You can, of course, everybody can incorporate better eating habits and healthier lifestyle habits, but being born with a strong constitution, you need to, if you have any of those features I talked about, like you have, Ray, really be thankful for that. That's such a blessing.
That's lovely. Anything else that you want to add before we get your face back up, Michelle?
I mean, I guess just just about the dairy thing. I would recommend to try to slowly eliminate that. Just because, I mean, you can look it up, but it's not really good. Especially you were born with such a gift, such a strong constitution. When you consume those things that kind of block you block yourself from not only mentally but also physically, spiritually accomplishing what you want to accomplish. So I just want to encourage you to maybe think about that.
Thanks so much, Ray, for getting a face reading. All right, I'm going to ask Michelle a question about face reading. Hey, that just brought up something that I thought of while you were doing that.
Huh.
What happens if someone gets plastic surgery?
Ooh.
Okay, let's say I'm going to bring up does it change the health? Let's say, for example, I had a wide nose and I had my nose narrowed. Does that change the person's constitution, or is it just masking? They'll still have a strong constitution, or they won't?
Well, they still have a strong constitution, but it is considered like a crime against the universe. It is considered like being ungrateful for what you've been given. And speaking as a crystal healer, you know, I've worked on people who have a lot of plastic surgery done to them. And not only is it, you know, a physical, I mean, you still have your strong constitution. You probably still will be able to thrive in your life to a certain extent, but it does change the way that your body operates, because it's really is not natural to be cut open and different things placed, unnatural things placed in your body, you know, but it does actually affect your chakras and your energy field. It's a disruption of your not only physical body but also energetic bodies too. And I know that it's a whole thing now, like you know, we don't want to shame people for doing what they do and all this stuff, and you know, totally. But you know, I definitely encourage people to pursue their happiness and have freedom if that's what they want to do. But you know, as a holistic health mentor, I really don't encourage that. And you know, I do get a lot of young girls talking to me, like saying like, I want a breast surgery, you know, all these things. And I definitely have been there myself. And what I would really rather encourage is, you know, let's work on your inner self so that you don't feel like you need to do that. Or, you know, and also
huge transformation. Yeah. And you know, what's really interesting is that, like, I think about, as I look at people, okay, right now, like my obsession is RuPaul's Drag Race. I love RuPaul's Drag Race, right? And the transformations that happen with makeup, with costuming and things like that. But I love seeing the diversity that happens, that not everyone on that show is supermodel, 6 feet tall, and, you know, weighs 100 pounds. That we have all different body sizes, all different looks, different ages, and that we see that uniqueness of each person rather than everybody looking identical or looking the same. And so when I look at when we look at beauty in different, all the rainbow of what beauty can be, big boobs, little boobs, wrinkly, smooth, whatever. We look at beauty and see that beauty in all of it. Then we are really seeing with that clear eye, you know, that we're seeing that it's not blonde hair and blue eyes and 6 feet tall and with, you know, rail thin, that we see actually all beauty in all of those areas. And you can look at things that are outside of that beauty standard and see the beauty in them. And I think that's some of the most joyful part of living this life, is seeing every different thing and beauty in every different thing, right? That's it, you know? So, I don't know how I got us on RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm obsessed. I'm catching up and I'm watching them. So I'm like, I need to have a media blackout and not know any of the winners, because I have to have all of that experience.
Yes, I love RuPaul. I love him so much.
I know, you know, I think that's one of the things that he is talking about, is that idea that it's an inside job, that your beauty and your self-acceptance is totally an inside job. You can get I mean, we see so much of, like, you can have 1 million plastic surgeries, you can have 1 million whatever, but it's not going to solve the problem if that you are not on board for yourself. And I think that's where we start to see that issue. But I was just curious about, hey, does the face shape say you have the constitution? And if you change the face shape, does it change the no? Yeah. It doesn't change the reality.
No, you'll still have that good energy. Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, oh my gosh, it has been such a delight to have you on the show, Michelle. Before we go, let's tell everybody how they can find you. Where's your website? Where do they go again to get that free 60-minute consultation with you? Whatever else you have coming up.
Okay, yes. So like I said, my 3-month training course is starting November 4th. So if you are interested in learning more about what I can help you with, maybe if that program sounds like something you'd want to do, definitely use the link freedomfairy.youcanbook.me and schedule a consultation call with me as soon as possible. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm at _freedom_fairy. I'm also on YouTube, the Freedom Fairy on YouTube. And you can also find me on Etsy. I actually do make some herbal incense and smudge wands. And if you just want to get like a 15-minute reading with me or something like that, I also do oracle readings. I do long distance crystal healings. You can find me on Etsy. My name is Not Your Average Card. I believe that's my name. I'm trying to change it. It's an old name, but it's still active. Let me see, where else am I? If you want to join my Facebook group, it's free to join. I'm always doing interviews, kind of like Madam Pamita does, with different guests, and I also ask you questions. It's a little community. It's called Sacred Space for Sensitive Women, and of course, it's only women in there, so you can find me on Facebook there, and I believe that's everything.
One last quick question. Angela wants to know what crystal or stone you're holding on to.
Oh, this whole time I just picking up different ones, but right now I'm holding this selenite heart.
Oh,
yeah, I love it so much.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you all of the Spell Squad that's here in the room. Oh my gosh, I love you guys so much. Can I say it? I love you more than I love RuPaul's Drag Race. That's how much I love you. That's saying a lot. That's saying a lot. I got to reveal one little thing. The other night, I had insomnia, not last night, the night before. I couldn't go to sleep. I binged watched a whole season of RuPaul's Drag Race, 7 hours.
Oh my gosh.
But Sharon Needles won, and I wanted her to win. So.
I love her. I love that season.
I love her too. She's got such her vibe is so light and loving and sweet. Despite all the gothy stuff, oh my gosh, so much love. So anyway, don't tell me who wins at any of the other seasons. I'm only up to season 4, okay? All right, you guys, I love you so much. Thank you so much, Michelle, for joining us today. You are such a loving, light-filled fairy. You are a fairy on earth. You are, there's earth angels, you're an earth fairy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. You can find her. I'm going to put in the YouTube comments, I'll put all the links to all the things and all the places that they can find you. Don't forget, cash in, you guys, on that free consultation she's offering. It's at freedomfairy.youcanbook.me. That's the address, and you can find it, and then you can book that consultation with Michelle. I love you, Michelle. I hope we see each other very, very soon. You are a delight, and best of luck on your big chrysalis, the Freedom Chrysalis. I love that. I think it's going to be amazing. Have an amazing time with that.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Come back next week. Let me tell you who's going to be here next week. It's Cooper Kaminsky. Cooper is an amazing intuitive empath. He's an art witch. He's based out of Denver. He's a Reiki practitioner. He's a totally amazing guide. He can talk to us about Reiki. He can talk to us about magic. He can talk to us about the Akashic Records. So you'll definitely want to be here next week when we talk with him. He is amazing. We're going to have an amazing time. So I hope that you guys have an amazing week, and we'll see you next week. Same Spell Squad time, same Spell Squad channel, 5 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Mountain, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be here. I hope that you join us and come in the room and ask questions. Cooper's amazing. He's adorable. He's the cutest thing you ever saw. And he's an amazing intuitive. So I hope you'll join us for that. Maybe we'll do a little reading or something like that. Thanks again, Michelle. Thanks again to all the Spell Squad. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.